This is College Football Wrap-Up on CBS 42, presented by Pepsi.
This is what victory looks like down on the plains when you beat the #1 team in the country. Auburn, shocker over Georgia, 40-17. Chris Priest and Simone Eli, we've got a full recap of the scene down on the plains for Auburn and Toomer's Corner. Absolute chaos tonight.
Hurts over the middle. It's caught inside the 10-yard line. Broken tackle. Devontae Smith. Touchdown, Bama.
And it was a nail-biter in Starkville as Bama escapes a near loss against Mississippi State, but Jalen Hurts wills the Tide to the promised land. Brees, an unbelievable win for Alabama on the road.
And breaking news, everybody, college football is fun again because Alabama and Auburn, that's the way it's supposed to be in this great state that loves their college football. And man, 2 weeks, the Iron Bowl, how fun is it going to be? Because the SEC West will be on the line, the playoffs on the line, the championship, everything on the line.
We got to start partying like it's 2013 again. You know, it's what it feels like down in the plains. You had players dancing in the stands. Of course, Alabama's excited with the huge win. The Iron Bowl is going to be great.
But here's the thing. Alabama had to get by Mississippi State tonight, and the way the Bulldogs ran the ball early in the game, you thought the Tide were in serious trouble.
Yeah, the issues at linebacker were totally obvious, but then Jalen Hurts there runs for the 1-yard touchdown, ties the game at 7 apiece in the second quarter.
Get this. State had 172 yards on the ground. Bama has given up 75 on average a game. That's how good that State rushing game was, going right down the gut and the teeth of that Bama defense. But Alabama said, you can do it, we can too. Short touchdown there by Josh Jacobs, 14-14 at the half.
Yeah, ground and pound, but Nick Fitzgerald is unbelievable. A huge quarterback there for the Bulldogs, and he gets the 2-yard touchdown run to give Mississippi State a 21-17 lead.
He had 21 carries on the night, and you were wondering when Damian Harris was in to get on the action. Did not see him a whole lot. That was a huge play for him there. 14 yards. Bama ties the game 24 apiece.
And a chance to take a huge 3-point lead here, but Andy Papanasty can't get it to go. It's off the post, and it's going to remain a tie game, and that's when you start biting the fingernails a little bit, but then Jalen Hurts does what Hurts does.
Jalen Hurts did a lot of things wrong tonight, but he did this perfectly. What a strike to Devontae Smith. 26 yards from Hurts to Smith. Alabama's up 31-24, and then State has one last-ditch effort after a really weird pass interference in the end zone. They have one more chance at it. This one is way out of the end zone. Alabama survives. That's all that matters. A win is a win is a win, and Nick Saban knows that.
Defensively, we didn't do a great job of stopping the run, but you got to give Mississippi State a lot of credit. They had a good plan. They've got a good running game. The quarterback is really a handful to go with the running game. I have every confidence that Jalen can make plays with his arm. He's made them all year long.
Thanks, Coach.
Made it on that touchdown pass, too. Very interesting to hear Saban say his team has the talent. They don't have the knowledge and the experience. You have not heard him say that a whole lot, the experience on the team that goes to the national title every year.
Yeah, and he claims that he plays more freshmen than any team in the country. That'd be an interesting fact to maybe do a little bit of research on. But, of course, the talk is all about quarterback Jalen Hurts, his performance, especially down the stretch there in the fourth quarter. And live in Starkville for more on Hurts' performance and Bama's big win over Mississippi State is our Chris Wrinkle. Chris?
Well, for the second straight week, the Alabama offense, which prides itself on being able to run the football and dominate the trenches, was really tested by this Mississippi State defense. They weren't able to run the ball as effectively as the Tide usually likes to. In comes Jalen Hurts. The big pass plays were what this offense needed, and that's what he delivered. 10 of 19 for 242 yards, and of course that go-ahead touchdown with 25 seconds left to give the Tide the win. Half of Hurts' passing yards goes to Calvin Ridley, who was a monster deep down the field all game long. And it was another case of when Alabama needed its offense to get that spark, they turned to their quarterback. And here is Jalen Hurts after the game.
That freshman stuff doesn't really matter. I mean, I was a freshman once last year, kind of making plays like that. And, we trust all our guys here, and he made the play.
Do you remember a game where you were blitzed this much?
That's hard to say. I mean, teams are going to do different things in different weeks.
And you heard Nick Saban say after the game that when you look for a quarterback, when you're recruiting who has the poise that Jalen Hurts does, you just don't know if he has it. It's either they do or they don't. Jalen Hurts certainly has it, guys.
Yes, he certainly does. Only one loss in his career while with the Tide, and the unbelievable Jalen Hurts in the air today.
And 2 plays, one for him on that last drive to Ridley and then to Smith in the end zone. Time for a break here on College Football Wrap-Up. When we return, we come back here to the Plains for Auburn's victory over Georgia. What it means in the playoff race, what it means for those rankings, and we'll talk to those players about how excited they are to have their season back on track. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to the College Football Wrap-Up Show. It was a day to remember for Auburn. Coach Gus Malzahn, he hasn't been great against top 10 teams. Just his second win over a top 10 team tonight against #1 Georgia since 2014. They couldn't have come at a better time, as the Tigers are still a major part of the college football playoff conversation. And Brees, it seemed in the first drive, of course, Georgia on offense, it seemed like Auburn could have been in trouble pretty early.
Coming in, Georgia was the team everyone's looking at with Sony Michel and Nick Chubb running the ball. No one's been able to stop those two guys. Jake Fromm, as a freshman at quarterback, people said, hey, this guy's got it, even though he's 19 years old. Georgia starts at the beginning of the game, and people say, yeah, that's about right, because they went down 70 yards, and just like that, it was 7-0, and you're like, oh, boy, yeah, Auburn's in serious trouble.
That's the first touchdown they've allowed in the first quarter, but Daniel Carlson, he's money, and he's money from 54 yards. That's going to put Auburn on the board. They're down 7-3 at that point.
It was 9-7. Auburn on top after 3 straight field goals from Daniel Carlson, and then Stidham just threw a bunch of pretty balls. Darius Slayton, 42 yards. It's 16-7 Auburn at the half. At the half. And then third quarter, this is where everything changed, because Auburn punts. Georgia's got a chance to get the ball back and score, but then that happened.
Yeah, we call that sudden change in football. Immediately the momentum shifts to Auburn there early in the third, and that turns into points for the Tigers. Here's Jarrett Stidham on the ground. He did it in the air. He does it here himself. 7 yards into the end zone. Auburn extends its lead 23-7 Tigers at that point.
Don't get it twisted. He's not a runner, but he makes it work, and this is what he makes his money on, or is going to make his money on at least. What a throwback. This one was Ryan Davis, 32 yards. This is where Auburn starts to embarrass Georgia, the #1 team in the country. 23-7 at that point. And then one more time, just because, for Kerryon Johnson, 30-7. Auburn on top, and the route was on all third quarter, all second half long, really. So many beautiful throwback passes from Stidham.
This was unbelievable here. Kerryon Johnson, it seemed like his play was forever developing. Eventually, he's into the end zone, and Auburn's going to win it big. 40-17 at the final. Auburn wins it over #1 Georgia.
I'm extremely proud of our team. It was a huge win for us. They seized the moment. We talked about this being a great opportunity for us, and our guys seized the moment on the field. I'm very proud of our fans. I mean, our fans were off the charts the whole game and really helped us win this football game.
The season's not built on one game. This team will be defined by how they respond, not by what they did tonight. They're going to be defined by how they respond.
All right, so here's what we got cooking for 2 weeks from today, right here at Jordan-Hare Stadium. It's the Iron Bowl, and guess what? It's winner take all. The Iron Bowl will decide the SEC West, and of course you see Auburn 6-2 overall in the conference. 6-1. So it's going to be a huge game, unbelievable. The crowd's going to be exciting.
Probably safe to say that Gus Malzahn's off the hot seat. A guy who was never on the hot seat because he's been so great all year long, Bill Clark. The job he's done at UAB, already bowl eligible, looking for win #7 in the Alamo Dome. A big place to play for a team like UAB against UT San Antonio. And A.J. Erdley going to work for the touchdown pass there, 6 yards. 14-3, UAB's on top. And Erdley does it again, 1 yard out, this time on the ground. They're up 21-3 early. And they hold on for the victory over UT San Antonio, 24-19. UAB is 7-3 on the season. Samford can't win the Southern Conference themselves, but they can still make a run at the FCS playoffs, playing East Tennessee State at home. And we talk so much about this offense, but Omari Williams and the defense, made plays today against East Tennessee State. Chris Hatcher loves to see that in year number 3, especially since the defense was so abysmal the first 2 years under him. And then Devlin Hodges, their guy, their superstar, goes to work. That to Clark Miller for the score. And then a pretty ball. This is 75 yards for the touchdown. Only 4 touchdowns from Simone. Only 4.
Only 4.
Only 250 yards throwing. They got the job done. Sanford continues to impress in the Southern Conference.
All right, how about Jacksonville State over at UT Martin, looking for their 4th straight OVC title, and it was the Rock Thomas show. Yes, the former Auburn running back. He had 2 touchdowns in the first half. Jacksonville State took a 14-0 lead going into the half. They go on to win 14-7, still ahead. We'll go back out to Chris Wrinkle live in Starkville for more on Bama's big win over Mississippi State.
Just in case you wanted to see it in print, folks, here it is. Alabama and Auburn control their own destiny to win the SEC West and go play Georgia in the SEC title game in Atlanta. But if you're Alabama, you've got serious concerns about that run defense, and Mississippi State seriously exploited that. Chris Wrinkle's back out there live in Starkville to tell us what went wrong with that Tide defense in that front 7, Chris.
Well, Nick Saban basically said it afterwards, that they have all the talent in the world, but not a lot of experience on this defense. You're relying on linebackers who haven't had a lot of playing experience to step in for guys like Sean Dion Hamilton and Mac Wilson. And you could see there was definitely a bridge that needed to be learned. There was a lot of on-the-top clock experience that this Alabama defense had to get today. In the end, they were able to limit Mississippi State in the second half, but Aris Williams going for 98 yards and 2 touchdowns was killing them early. Nick Fitzgerald able to get some big runs as the quarterback. And here's one of the defenders, Anthony Averett, after the game.
Oh, this win, I mean, I think this is our toughest game. I'll just describe this win as just, a big win for us. I mean, just coming in here, hearing the cowbells, crazy atmosphere. I mean, it was different. We knew it was going to be tough. Definitely a different Mississippi State team this year, so it was good. It was a good game.
Nick Saban said after the game, sometimes you need these hard games in order to mold a team together. And as we were walking off, Rashaan Evans was hugging every one of his members of his defense, saying that he loved them. And when we asked him why, he said, this was a game that we needed, and it's going to help us as we go forward, guys.
Yes, it certainly is, and hopefully it helps them a lot when they come to Jordan-Hare here, as the Iron Bowl is going to be unbelievable.
They can't wait for it either. Either can Auburn. Those guys that win tonight over Georgia, they know they've got a real chance to beat Alabama after what happened today.
We were excited to get back in front of our own fans, and things just started rolling for us, and we were just having fun. Like I said, this is why you play college football, and we were just having fun with it.
Yeah, to us, it's just a confidence boost because now people are going to say, well, you still haven't beat Alabama, now they're the #1 team, blah, blah, blah. So, people are going to talk either way, so we don't really listen to that. We just know, like I've already said, we knew we had a great team, but we had to go out and prove it, and we did that today.
But last year, man, we only gave up 2 field goals, so I already felt like we had won as a defense, but not as a collective group. But, I mean, it's a great feeling to finally win as a collective group, and, God just works everything out for the better, man. I thank him so much.
Well, it seems like the secret for Auburn is, hey, just have them play a #1 team because they've been so good at it. The last 2 #1s they've played, they beat them. This year against Georgia, 2013 against Alabama. We want to go to a break, but before we do, we want to bring you our poll question from earlier in the day. Do 2 teams from the same conference deserve to be in the college football playoff? Well, after what happened today, it may happen, and a lot of you say yes. 93% say yes. 4% of you say no, and some of you are Switzerland. You're not sure. We'll be right back.
Feeling great. I'm feeling great.
How about for your body?
Huh?
How about your body?
Great. You got a W, I'm feeling great.
All of Alabama feeling great right now as both Bama and Auburn get the win. Of course, Bama has Mercer next week and Auburn and Louisiana Monroe.
The W is all that matters in the Iron Bowl. It cannot come soon enough. Alabama at Auburn for the SEC West, and CBS 42 will be out there all weekend long before the game and after the game. Be with us up until then. We'll see you next.